everybody? It's your boy Pitts. Pitt Sports Zone, Bowie TV, coming to you live. Listen, it's going down all things HBCUs. And who else better to start it off with them Bowie State Bulldogs? We coming to you, Bowie State Bulldogs, total access. We got the Morgan State Bears. Listen, all HBCUs information, all HBCU news, sporting events, updates. You get it live here with Pitt Sports Zone, Bowie TV, Comcast Channel 77, Verizon Channel 11 is going down. Don't you miss a beat. Listen, it's only the beginning because it's early still. And we're gonna be here all day. All day. What's going on, everybody? Y'all know what it is. It's your boy Pitts and Pitt Sports Talk Radio, Pitt Sports Zone, Bowie TV, coming to you live yet again, once again, with my homegirl Sid. Y'all know how we get down. What's going on, Sid? How you been?
What's up, Pitt? And today we are joined by a true game changer for the San Jose State Spartans, defensive back Isiah Revis. Known for his lockdown coverage, explosive speed, and the kind of instincts that make quarterbacks think twice, Isiah has been a key playmaker in the Spartans' defense. From big-time interceptions to clutch tackles, he's proven that he could show up when it matters most. Off the field, he brings the same energy and focus, working hard to perfect his craft and inspire others. We're diving into his football journey and his work ethic and what it takes to be the top DB and what's next for this rising star. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Isiah Revis.
My God. What's going on, man? Hey, and he is a returning guest. What's up, man? How you been?
I'm good. I wasn't expecting that intro.
Look, Sid be on it. She be on it with the intros. I'm definitely grateful for her and her dedication and the implementation of that aspect into the show. I think it is definitely great to be able to give flowers and give the accolades and the tributes to everything that you've done on and off the field. So again, congrats.
Appreciate it. Yeah, that's love. Yeah.
You know, I can't let it go either. Definitely got to shout out my man Jay. You know, it's a 412 thing. Can't have his son on and not shout out my guy Jay.
412. That's his email.
Hey, that's what you already know. But look, man, it's been a minute since we spoke. Since I believe we spoke right before the bowl game last year. Mm-hmm. So, you know, if you want, you know, recap, you know, what your thoughts and your feelings were on the bowl game.
Oh yeah, I haven't thought about that in a minute, but you know, obviously we lost, so it was pretty unfortunate and not the outcome we wanted. So, but I mean, that's kind of been, you know, we watched the film on it as a team. I watched it individually, and you know, we're gonna learn from it and grow from it, and make sure not to end the season the same way this year.
Absolutely.
Go
ahead, Sid.
Can you walk us through your journey at San Jose State? How did you end up there?
Oh yeah, that was kind of a little bit what me and Pitts talked about last time, but so I won't go fully long before, but yeah, basically I graduated high school 2020 during COVID, so and I wasn't really a highly recruited guy. I had like a couple small D2 offers like up in the Midwest, but I didn't want to do that. So me being from Vegas, I just wanted to walk on at UNLV. I was already on like athletic or academic scholarship to go there, so I didn't think that'd be a big deal. But COVID kind of complicated that, made that process not as easy as I thought it was going to be. So I basically was a student there, just a student for 2 years. Kept trying to walk on, but that was like a whole thing that wasn't working out. And then eventually I finally decided in the summer of 2022, so after 4 semesters just being a student there, to go to City College of San Francisco. because a couple of my friends from my teammates from high school, they went there, and I had a couple other connections there. So I moved up there in summer, and I was there for 6 months. I played pretty good, so San Jose offered me after that season at the end of 2022, and then I got here in January 2023.
When you talk about the end of last year's season, right, and you go into the off season, just walk us through what did the off season look like for you? Did you take a period of downtime to just, kind of, mentally reset, physically reset before getting back into any type of football related activities?
Yeah, definitely. After like the bowl game, um, that was my third. Yeah, my third like winter break here. So it's always been the same. Just at the end of the season, just oh no, that was my second here. My bad, but third like in college football, like including my JUCO.
Right.
So yeah, I had like a cool month until we started like our winter off season training, like running or conditioning and weightlifting. So yeah, I was just home that whole time in Vegas. Still staying in shape, but yeah, it was more time to just, that's the longest time of the year. Everyone on the team, most guys are away from, their family or their hometown if they're not playing in their hometown already. So yeah, I was just focused on, spending basically all my free time just with my friends and my family, and just yeah, kind of, I watched a little bit of film, but mostly it was my time wasn't, consumed with football. Football
Right.
season already does that enough. So, but then, once we get back into the spring semester, like in January, and we're back as a team, like that's kind of when it uh, starts rolling again. Not as much football based, but more just, working out. But
Absolutely.
definitely that time during winter break, I was just kind of relaxing, just healing, I guess, from the season.
Mm.
Okay.
So you mentioned the upcoming semester. So what are some of your goals for the upcoming season?
Like football wise,
Football wise, it could be school wise, anything.
right? Yeah, football wise, I got a few goals that I got written down. A couple of them are that I can name, like team wise, are to win the Mountain West, get a playoff seating like how Boise did
Right.
last year, representing the Mountain West. Um, you know, we're going. Yeah, that's basically the main goal. That's the goal. Win the Mountain West, because that's something we've been the past 2 seasons we've been on the precipice of and haven't gotten the job done. So that's the main one. And then individually, just first team All Mountain West. I'm trying to be an All American this year. I'm trying to get on a Jim Thorpe award, kind of like how Nash, our receiver last year, he was a Bolitnikov finalist. Um, and then by the end of the season, I'm trying to have, you know, my name um in the circles of NFL scouts and teams looking at me. So that's and then uh like school wise, I'm going into my second semester of grad school for education. Um so I'm trying to be, because my program is for like a teacher credential, so I'm trying to be a teacher. So this next semester is just me. It's 2/3 of the way towards getting technically really 1/3 of the way of me getting that master's done. So I'm just trying to keep learning more about how to help
Yeah,
other people learn. So
Absolutely.
it's amazing.
When and I just want to, when you say, I want to try, I believe that, one, you have the physical ability, you have the great work ethic, right? Your film study is key. So definitely, now that I try, but you definitely will. Definitely looking forward to you making the Mountain West, that you guys are number one and you do get that bid. Definitely looking forward to you being an All American this year, because quite honestly, everything that you did last year, it really was a build up to what the expectation can be from Isiah Revis from San Jose State this year.
definitely, Yeah.
So what are some of the things that you have worked on individually, in an area in which you feel that you wanted to strengthen, on the field this year?
Really a big focus for me and my defensive coordinator was it's not one thing in particular. I mean, I could say one thing is like tackling, but really trying to I've been learning like a lot of nickel, and I've been expanding my knowledge in other aspects of the defense that aren't just safety. So really, just overall getting a better understanding of football itself and being able to communicate more effectively and read offenses better. So really, that like mental aspect of being a back end guy in the defense and like expanding my versatility in terms of playing different positions, whether that's in the boundary safety,
Yeah.
field safety, or sometimes I've been floating around in the nickel position, starting in spring and still going into fall camp. So I'd say just expanding my versatility and my overall football IQ.
Okay.
Yeah. So can you tell me who have been your biggest influences in your football career?
Well, for one, I probably wouldn't like football as much. I probably wouldn't have gotten into football if it wasn't for like Troy Polamalu. He's the reason why I like the Steelers. He's the
Mhm.
reason why when my mom, you feel me, met my dad, Jared. Uh, like that, I was like, and she told me he was from Pittsburgh. I got hella excited. So Troy
Yeah.
Polamalu is like the reason why I feel like I'm even playing football.
Yeah.
Mm.
But like now, guys that I watch today that like influence how I like the player I want to be is guys like Antoine Winfield, Buda Baker.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, those are like the main two guys I'd be watching. But there's a lot of good guys in the league I'd be trying to emulate. But yeah, probably those, especially Buda Baker.
When you talked earlier, you was talking about the communication. Can you delve into, from a safety perspective, is there does the communication come from the back end? How much are you communicating for the viewers out there who may not understand, the assignment that a safety has when it comes to communication?
Mhm. Well, I think it depends on the defense. I know some defenses, the communication is kind of uh, centered around like
The
the inside
the
linebackers.
mic backers.
Yeah, but
Right.
yeah, ours is pretty um, it's centered around the safety. So it's super important. I mean, that's a big emphasis we talk about a lot in terms of just having pre-snap clarity, and it helps with like anticipation before plays so that guys aren't just just playing kind of blindfolded. You're playing with a sort of um, yeah, anticipation to what could potentially happen, and making sure everyone's on the same page each play. So it's super important. I mean, literally every single play, we're trying to really over communicate, like damn near be redundant in terms of what we're saying, just so there's no confusion. Because when there's confusion, all it takes is one guy not being on the same page as everyone else, and that's when bad things happen for a defense. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's super important. For the back end guys to be talking to everybody, including the corners and then the backers talking, laying what we're saying to the D linemen. So yeah.
Absolutely. Definitely leads to mistakes.
So, as an athlete, how do you balance your academics, football, and your personal life?
Yeah, that's probably the biggest I guess struggle, I guess you could say, with being a student athlete is
Hmm.
that balance. I've had my ebbs and flows with how I handle that, but I think last season was when I really um sort of found I struck a balance with all that stuff. And like one thing we talk about a lot too, like Coach Ken talks about, and our whole team, our culture is kind of built on is like, how you do anything is how you do everything. If you have, if you're just focused on football and you're not nurturing or taking care of your academics or your just personal social life, those things are going to end up affecting football. You can't really just have one thing that you focus on. You have to have, a balance because, everything's connected. So for me, I find it advantageous to, kind of schedule stuff out. I got me a little like calendar right above my desk that helps me organize, what I'm about to do each day. And thankfully, I also have really good, professors that help with, that are super clear in their communication with what's expected academics wise. So I could plan, certain, homework or whatever that I need to plan around us going on away trips or practice or whatever. So it's really just get into a routine that's organized each day to having certain blocks of time scheduled for, obviously the morning, all football and weightlifting and stuff. And then once we get out, I get out around like 1 after treatment, maybe each day. Um, you know, then I have a certain block of time scheduled for class, certain block of time scheduled for homework, certain block of time scheduled for, watching film for whatever team we're game planning for. And then obviously having free time to be a human and not just be a robot. So I think it just comes down to, having a sort of routine and kind of scheduling each week and each day.
When you talk about treatment, right? Before we went live, that's one of the things that you talked about. What are some of the things that you do during the season, during the off season, to make sure that you're keeping your body, you're treating your body as if it was in season? What are some of your rituals that you may have
In the off season?
in the off season?
Well, coming into this off season, I had or coming out of the season, I like sprained my AC joints a
Okay.
couple times. So in the off season, I was really focused on strengthening like everything around my shoulders, like my neck, my traps, my shoulders, my back. So I was making a heavy emphasis, after. I mean, we have great strength staff too, so just doing the bare minimum, mandatory lifts is good, but I had an emphasis of like every single day doing something extra, um, whether that's just even 2 or 3 extra little workouts with bands or whatever for my shoulders or whatever, in that sense. But it was really a full body thing every single day, just getting extra, lifts in after our mandatory lifts, and then after that, going to the training room and you know, working with our training staff to, do little feel good stuff like stretches or, needling or cupping or, whatever, all the, amazing things we got in our training room. Just being consistent, really. Like it's nothing. I was never doing nothing crazy every single day. It was just a little extra work, staying after, not doing the bare minimum, just trying to be intentional about what I did each day. And then I feel like over time that compounds and, you know, my body feels better and I get stronger. So
Absolutely.
So during a game, what's one mistake that you often see wide receivers make and that you take full advantage of?
that's a good question. Receivers. Uh I mean, a lot of receivers don't like to block, so that's one thing that first pops in my mind.
Mhm.
Or they'll a lot of receivers, there's like kind of the stereotype that they're divas. So if they know they're not getting the ball on a play, you could kind of tell either as they get out the huddle, based off how they jog to the. So kind of just reading their body language. Like if they get off the ball hella slow, I know it's probably a run. Like they're not giving no effort. So maybe effort. A lot of receivers could. I think the best receivers make every play look the same. They get out the huddle the same. They don't have no attitude. They run their routes hard even when they know they're not getting the ball. They
Mhm.
run, clear outs if they know it's a screen or a run. But yeah, probably that's a big mistake. They tend to like, yeah, lose their effort when they know they're not getting the ball or when they know they got to run the ball. So or they got to block. So probably, yeah, probably that.
And I think that is so advantageous to the defense because that does happen a lot where either, there's a lack of effort, like you said, coming off the ball, because of course, on a passing route, there's an energy that you're given. But, when it's blocking, the intent is to either make your defender think you're going out for a pass, depending on the type of run, or, to get into a pass block, better angle to have a pass blocking situation type. And I do think when you can tell non-verbally, and I don't think a lot of people realize that too, that nonverbal communication is big in football, especially, from a D lineman, from an offensive lineman, their first step tells everything, right? Their first step is back. We know we in the pass protect. We know they're in pass protect. Their first step is forward. We know that it's typically run in that instance. So, but not all the time, but more so in those instances. So that's definitely a good one. I was thinking hard when she asked. I'm sitting here like, man, like what play? and then once she started talking, I'm like, yeah, that is the big one, because a receiver will come off the ball and they'll let you know I ain't getting it without saying it.
Right.
It's like, I don't even need for you to cover me. Y'all need to put two over me. Just you stay right here, act like I'm doing something. The rest of y'all can go have fun.
Not definitely. Yeah, I mean, it depends, receiver to receiver. Not all receivers are like that, but that's definitely a common, for like receiver sort of tendency. But yeah, I can't really think of anything else. But that's a good question.
I know, right? I'm sitting here still thinking like, because yeah, I'm stuck.
I mean, yeah, some receivers, they might be, kind of bad route runners, but good at catching the ball. Some receivers are good at route running, but drop the ball. So it just depends. But I think overall theme, receivers love getting the ball. And if they're not getting the ball, they might feel some type of way about it. And that's going to show in their body language for sure.
When for this upcoming season, I know, we always take that 1 week, approach at a time. Is there a game that you're looking? I know you're looking forward to all games, but one that you really put the pen in and be like, I'm looking forward to this matchup, not necessarily the game, but the matchup.
Not really. Yeah, kind of as you said, like we kind of just take a one day at a time, one rep at a time sort of approach to it. And we haven't quite got into, our game plans yet. We're still doing our installs and stuff. So, I mean, but all we've been talking about so far is just week 1, Central Michigan. And then we know we got Texas after that. That's obviously going to be a big game. And then we know later down the line, we got Fresno. That's our rivalry. But, as of now, we're not really focused on, one sort of matchup, in terms of how we're preparing right now. We're just getting better each day. And, I mean, but I can't say I'd be lying if I said I wasn't, excited or think about, playing in Austin at Texas this year. That's going to be, a super big game in terms of being evaluated and, for the next level. And, it's going to be, all eyes on you sort of situation. And, they got some talent. They're going to be a hungry team coming off of, just missing, you feel me, the national championship last year. So that's going to be a big opportunity. But we're really looking at every game like, one game at a time sort of mentality.
Absolutely.
So, what's been your proudest moment on the field so far?
Proudest. I don't know. It's hard to say because I really feel like we haven't, and I haven't really done nothing like yet. Like I feel like there's so much opportunity this year. I'm looking forward to, and I just feel like last year, and I don't want to be negative, but I just feel like there was so much we left on the field. But there was obviously, still some great moments, but I don't know. It's hard to say because it was never. Maybe beat Stanford. That felt pretty good. That was the last game of the season, or last game of the regular season. It's a bit of a rivalry too. Stanford's 20 minutes away from San Jose.
Mm.
It was a pretty close game, and then I had a little like kind of, I guess you could say, walk off like dive in interception at the end
Mhm.
that kind of sealed it. So that was a good team win, and also I guess on an individual level, I made a pretty good play at the end. Um, so I guess I could say that last game of this regular season, last home game. So yeah, I guess I'll say that was a pretty proud game.
One of the things as athletes, we give a lot to the game. And at some point, we don't do it for the recognition, but at some point, the recognition does feel good,
Yeah.
right? Because all of the time, all of the hours, the sacrifice that it takes, to be at the top level, to be diligent and disciplined, when it comes to film study, when it comes to treatment, when it comes to, just taking care of your body, working out, etc. How did it feel when you were named second team All Mountain West defense?
Oh, I was actually all honorable mention. So really, I was all Mountain West, but it wasn't second team this year. That was the preseason. I had a couple like preseason all Mountain West, but
Right.
I mean, yeah, it felt good to be recognized, but you know, it kind of just makes me, you always want to, as a competitor, you always want to be first. You always want to, same way I feel about us, losing the bowl game or losing to Boise or not going to Mountain West Championship. Like I don't know, it feels good. I'm not gonna act like it doesn't feel good to be recognized, and I appreciate it, but it also, in the same sense, um, kind of adds a chip on my shoulder. Like, there's room for improvement. Like, there's nothing to be satisfied about. But yeah, I'll just leave it at that.
Sid.
If you could give advice to any young athlete wanting to be in the position that you're in, being a D1 athlete, what would it be?
Yeah, I tell a lot of the guys, the freshmen on the team, that especially from my perspective as a DB, um, I think a lot of young people kind of have this misconception that like all of football, at least I can't speak for other sports, but football is like all physical, or it's all, you got to be talented, like athletically gifted, which is true, but I think it's so much more important to be a smart player,
Yeah.
have habits, have you know what I'm saying, like kind of what I was saying earlier, routine, have really like a good understanding of what you're doing and why you're doing it and how to do it. And that bleeds into, your technique, your work ethic, um, your IQ. So especially as a safety, like the number one trait I think as a safety that makes a good safety is their understanding of what's going on, their understanding of offensive and defensive concepts, their understanding of their technique and leverage and angles. And I feel like, a lot of young guys think they just need to get, hella swole and hella fast. And obviously that stuff's important and you should do that, but they tend to neglect the sort of mental aspect of it. So I mean, yeah, I mean, before I got to JUCO, there was 2 years of me just being a student, like I said, and I was just working out on my own. But and that was a big focus because I'm trying to, I was trying to get physically where I needed to be, uh, if I wanted to be D1 or whatever, get an offer. But throughout that process, I was still watching, a bunch of film on NFL guys. I wasn't that good. I didn't, looking back on it, I didn't exactly know how to watch film. You don't just watch film. You got to like learn how to. And, luckily now that I'm here, I have guidance from my coaches and stuff on how to watch film more effectively. But I was still making an effort to understand how football works. And, it's not just track. I mean, no shade to track, but there's technique in that. I ran track in high school, but you just running straight pretty much if you're running a 100 meter, you feel me? But football, like, you're not just running straight. There's a lot going on mentally. So I'll say like trying to understand and learn in any way you can from NFL guys, college guys, just I think having like a desire and a curiosity about the mechanics of football, I think is super important.
What a great way to segue us, out of the show, because it's funny. Today, I had the pleasure of going to the Anne Arundel High School Football Media Day, and and talking with them. One of the things that I like to highlight to a lot of high school players is something that you just said. The physical aspect is important, but the mental aspect is more important, right? When it comes to film study, when it comes to knowing your assignment, when it comes to knowing the assignment of the people next to you, when it comes to film study and watching your opponent, right? Because mentally, when you're locked in mentally and you studied, and you get a formation that you've seen, like, you know what, I've seen this, right? So the body reacts mentally, right? The physical reacts to our mental aspect. And I was talking to some guys today, and I was just highlighting the importance of physical is important as well, but film study is everything. Knowing your assignment, but not just your assignment, knowing the assignment of the other teammates of yours, whether it's offense or defense, right? Because then you start to know where gaps may appear at. You start to know where dead zones may be, right? But it gives you that thought process to where now you're looking at the game from a more detailed perspective. And you're correct. Film study is not just sitting down and looking at it and saying, okay, I see it. There's an intent to it. There's an intentionality to it. And I'm glad you brought that up, because that's going to be one question that we ask one of our next guests who is a coach. What does film study mean to you, and how do you break it down to your players to watch it? Because I think that's a great idea, because a lot of high school students may not know that. They may not be equipped with that information. So definitely shout out to you for that, man. Before I let everybody go, you have some comments on Instagram, Prototype Cav. What's going on, man? Appreciate your constant support. Uriel Rodriguez, he said, hey, it's called Revis Allen. I mean, we from Pittsburgh know what that means, right? Started at the University of Pitt, then went to the New York Jets, but
should have drafted him.
well, no, that's a whole nother story about our draft ways.
Right.
But no, but I definitely appreciate you for taking the time to sit down with myself and Sydney, man. Definitely look forward to talking to you as the season wanes on, to get your take, what are your thoughts from what's has transpired already to what you're looking forward to coming up for the rest of the season. Look forward to hearing you being mentioned in the All Mountain West. Look forward to hearing you mentioned as an All-American. Look forward to seeing you guys host that Mountain West Trophy, so I can go ahead and get that bid for the college football playoffs. Who am I? I just believe power's in the tongue, so I'm gonna go ahead and speak it into existence for you.
Appreciate it. Every day. We visualizing it.
Let's go. Y'all know what it is. It's your boy Pitts and Push Sports Talk Radio, Pitt Sports Zone, Bowie TV, coming to you live. Y'all know what it is. Isiah Revis. Revis Allen is what I hear they call him out San Jose State, but we'll see. Let's get it. Enjoy the rest of y'all Sunday.